Hey, welcome everyone to my Tuesday night live session. And the session tonight, which is session 5, is all about identifying hidden potential, like seeing in property what most people don't. If you see the potential in a property beyond what other people notice, it puts you one step ahead of the game. Not only that, but if you're able to buy that property and understand how to buy that property for less money, particularly buying it off market, then it puts you 2 steps ahead of the game, because most people just do what they do and what they know. And most people just tune in to the advertised sites, realestate.com.au and Domain, and they just go and find a property and they might line up and they're trying to outbid other buyers for those properties. You know, that's not the way to get a bargain. And really, if you want to renovate for lifestyle profit, if you really want to renovate at a level that's above the average Joe, then it's very, very important to learn all of the strategies, particularly buying off market. So that's when you get a property for less than it's worth. So you're really making money right from the get-go. So how do you find properties with hidden potential? How do you find the properties that are worthwhile buying and the ones that you should just run from? There are many of those. So the first thing you do is you observe the property from the street. If a real estate agent is traveling with you and showing you the property, make sure that out the front you catch a breath, you stand back, you look at that property, you observe how you're feeling as you're looking at that property, and you take a look from the outside in, from the top to the bottom, and from the sides into the middle. Like you're really observing everything about that property. If you work with us, you'll have this amazing checklist. If you're one of our students, you'll have this amazing checklist that makes sure that you don't miss a thing when you're looking at property, when you're examining property to actually potentially buy. So the first thing you do is look, stand back and look. The second thing you do is walk right up to the entrance. And the research you do before you even get to that property in the first place. So the research you do before you even get to that property involves the following things. The location. You must already have an understanding of that location. So you need to research the property's location, the street that it's in. You want to check out the trends in that location and the neighborhood. So look for signs of gentrification. So look for signs, you know, those feel-good signs where you kind of suss out a suburb and you go, there's something going on here. This is going to be a great place to invest in. I can feel it. I can see it. You can see some young people, some perhaps new cafes. You can see healthy shops. Like you're just looking for a change in a suburb. You're looking for health. The same as you look for health in yourself, you're looking for health in a property. So location. Look, you really are looking for those clues. So be a detective. So the second thing you want to look for is you want to examine the renovation possibilities. So does the property have the potential for a small amount of money to be spent on it to have a dynamic impact, to have a big impact on its appearance? So assess the condition of the property. If it's dirty or smelly, that is absolutely brilliant, because dirty and smelly is cost effective to clean up. Doesn't cost you a fortune to clean those things, particularly if you're like me and you roll up the sleeves, put a peg on your nose, put a mask on and just get stuck in and understand that not all people live like we do, and not all people clean like we do, and not all people pick up after their pets like we do. Those properties are great to grab, right? Because smelly and dirty is a cost-effective fix, and the change you can make is dynamic. So that kind of thing, you're looking for that kind of thing. So assess the condition of the property. Look for outdated features as well. So things that can be modernized quite easily. Look at the front facade. Before you go into that property, really look at the shape of the house and think about how you can bring it up to speed. Think about the changes that you can make to the kitchen and the bathroom and the flooring to modernize them, but not cost you a bomb. Look, in the end, a really well executed renovation can really lift and increase the property's appeal and the resale value to the next person. Tip number 3, look for underutilized space. So if you're going to look at my house, for example, it's one of the things I identified immediately walking through this house. This is a big old 70s house. It has wasted space everywhere, like in every room. The plan and the layout is very, very 1970s. There is wasted space everywhere, but it's big and it's oversized and it's solid. So I identified straight away that with this property, there was potential. Even if I renovated it in a similar layout, there was still potential for a lot of improvements. It was very, very easy to sneak in a study, perhaps an extra bedroom, and those kinds of things that really up the value. So analyze the layout of the property, identify what's not being used to the full extent. And this could include corners, it might include hallways, little alcoves, unfinished areas that perhaps you could finish off, places that you can convert to other functional living spaces, and through great styling, you can identify that new use for the next buyer to come and observe and see and appreciate. So, yeah, if you can improve the use of a house as well as its appearance, especially if there's underutilized space, you're on a winner. The next point, zoning and redevelopment opportunities. So have a look at the zoning, like really check out when you identify the location you want to invest in, really check out what the council says about zoning, what other people are saying about zoning, and observe the types of buildings that are new and that are popping up around the property you're looking at. So investigate, taking that property to a higher and greater use. Perhaps you could rent it out. Perhaps you can build a granny flat. Perhaps you can do an extension and, maybe even a dual occupancy subdivision. Like you could really make greater use of the space and of the property that you've bought. So really look to zoning and development opportunities and improve those. So look at all of your local regulations in relation to that. Outdoor living, guys. People forget about the outdoors. I know that if you're really short on cash doing a renovation, it's tempting just to lay grass and mow right to the corners. That's fine. You can do that if you're running short on cash. However, if you've got a small property and you want to make that property feel larger, the easiest and most cost-effective way to do that is not to extend the property, because there's money in that and there's council approval, but the easiest way is to add outdoor living. So create decks or identify living spaces, fire pits, nice little sections. You can really section off your yard and make it very, very clear and appealing as to what the use of that yard could be. So gardens, can they be tidied up on a budget? Can you repurpose some of those plants? Is the front veranda attractive when you walk up to the front of the house? The entryway is very, very important. You're looking at it as you're observing the property to buy. The next person after you renovate it is going to be looking at it with just the same kind of eyes. They're looking for appeal. So make sure that that front entry area really, really pops. Make sure that it is flattering for the house. The outside of the house has to be cool, right? So make sure that the front entryway with perhaps some really lovely styling is very, very flattering. So it's going to draw people in and they want to explore what's inside more. Honestly, just extending those outdoors and making greater use of your yard is one way of making a small place feel more appealing to families and be more user-friendly, because even though people can't picture themselves inside in a favourable manner, if the place is tiny, then they might be able to picture themselves outside playing more. So enhance those outdoor spaces. Upgrade functional items that are noticeable. So upgrades that people will notice, not things that people will pass by, not things that people won't notice. Don't spend your money there. Spend your money on things that people are going to notice and appreciate. Number one, I would suggest when you're talking about upgrading functional items is considering people's comfort. So air conditioning and fans. So they would be my top 1, 2 would be air conditioning and fans. And I think that really important to not pass over those things like they don't matter. Another thing that people really notice is storage. So if there's not enough storage, people will find that an issue. So create some storage. Make sure you tick the storage box in people's mindset or in their minds as they're examining the property. So heating, cooling, take care of that. Storage, attractive lighting is another really easy fix. So people feel very, very catered for in their homes. It's going to appeal to the rental market as well as buyers, and it's going to make your place look good. Like in the end, we all have walls and skirting boards. So why not do some really attractive lighting throughout? Next point, for buy and holds, like if you're holding onto a property for investment, you have to look at the rental income opportunities and see if you can explore ways to maximize rental income. So perhaps that might be converting single living into dual living. I mentioned dual occupancy before. Maybe it's building a garage or a granny flat. It's creating separate entrances to each one of those so that people feel important and they feel separated from each other, and so they'll happily rent those spaces. So, furnish and style your places so that they really pop and they look fabulous. Add personal touches that will appeal to the masses. Make your places look really, really attractive to rent out. Guys, I think they're the main ones when it comes to really hunting down great properties and looking for the potential, looking for the hidden potential in property. If you start to look at property and think, what can I do? Like think that one step further rather than just walk in and say, this is ugly, I could renovate this. Think beyond that and think, how could I renovate it? How can I add value? And how can I make this property a beautiful, beautiful property inside my investment portfolio? Thanks, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that session. Thanks for joining me. Okay, bye, guys. See you next week.